instances of paranormal phenomena have been reported in this desolate place. Events that may reflect the area's tragic past.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Dangerous Podcast, where we talk all things paranormal. I'm Ken James, and this is Jason McKittrick.
Hey, folks.
Whenever we get on Hell or Dwell in the Dark, we want to talk about it. And tonight, we're going goblin hunting.
Yeah, there's gonna be some goblin over here.
Yeah, to the Kelly Hopkinsville Encounter, or invasion, or straight up fight with goblins, aliens / hillbillies, which is sick.
Yeah, sponsored by Wawa's Gobbler. Wrong season. And no, we're not sponsored by Wawa, but they can if they want to.
Yeah, you can throw us some money. That's fine. Mm-hmm. Speaking of food in Wawa, today I actually visited an old friend's deli.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Bristol. Yeah, it's Sal's Italian Deli. It's on Durham Road, 2623. I'll tell you what, man. Haven't had a good meatball parm in a while.
They put together what? A hell of a sandwich or what?
Yeah, hell of a sandwich over there. I walked in, we talked business. No, I grabbed nice meatball parm, man. It was really good. Wow. Yeah, got some ziti, or as some people out here call it ziti, some baked ziti.
No.
Yeah, I don't call it that, but some people do. But yeah, got some ziti. It was delicious. Yeah, man, had a good time over there. Caught up with my buddy. If you're in the area, Bristol, Ben Salem, Northeast Philly, in this area, and you want to get yourself a nice sandwich, they got other kind of sandwiches too. Roast pork for the pork lovers out there. Almost did it. Next time going back, get myself a hoagie.
Nice.
That's where I'm going. But yeah,
hey, I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, you should. Next time you're up here, we're going.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Get over there, get yourself a sandwich, and tell them your boys at Other Dangerous Podcast sent you.
Mm-hmm. You might see the sticker.
Yeah, you might see the sticker. That or the Learning Lovecraft sticker. Peter James lives. All right, guys. So back to this. We're gonna discuss this and some other projects that were associated.
Okay.
That people have come up with that may or may not have had a pretty good first season that just derailed, and then the second season was insane. But we'll get to that later. But before we do that, I will be bringing you today's jump scare. All right, thanks, Ken. So, a couple of recordings ago, we were doing one of our Zoom episodes because we don't really bank episodes like that because we're not those kind of bros.
You mean the ones that are talking about shit from 3 months ago, and it's like, wow, you guys are relevant still.
Yeah, wearing the same yellow shirt for fucking 8 episodes. Yeah, those are the kind of people I'm talking about.
Or if we drop our own vodka brand and then just turn it to Total Tools.
Oh my god, I saw a recap of one of their latest episodes, and
it's so bad.
Bert Kreischer was talking about buying a house. It was so
his fifth house.
Yeah, because the one guy was my goal is to buy my mom a house, one of their producers.
Sure.
And he's like, that's not really a big goal. And the guy just started laughing. He's like, what are you talking? Anyway,
those fools don't need any more press.
Yeah, right. So we were recording. I think it was three episodes ago.
Yep.
And out of nowhere, my audio drops out, and Jay ends up hearing a very odd voice. You want to briefly go over what it kind of sounded like?
Man, it kind of had it was like a woman's voice, kind of. And I thought it was Brittany at first, right? Isn't that what I said to you?
Yeah. And you were like, was Brittany just talking? And I was like, no.
Yeah, it was definitely weird. I was like, okay. And, hey, glitches happen and whatnot, but it was a distinct voice. And I was just, and so I just chalked it up to, I was like, I don't know, maybe someone was talking, or maybe wires got crossed, baby monitors, all that bullshit. You never know.
So I ended up unplugging my setup, plugging it back in. My audio came back. We continued recording. And I have a little clip of what it sounded like in the recording, which I will play right here. Unless it's not. How about now?
Yep, you're good.
Something's up with my setup. I gotta fiddle.
It sounded for your voice was gone, and it sounded like it was picking up Beeb.
Okay, so it's a little strange. It's not what Jay heard. It's and I obviously didn't hear anything because you know my audio was gone. But
yeah,
a little weird. Maybe like you said, wires getting crossed, baby monitors, whatever, what have you. Or something reached through the other side and grabbed my microphone.
It's possible, or maybe grabbed mine.
Yeah, reached out to you.
I don't know.
Who knows? Who the F knows? We don't.
You got me, buddy. I mean, it was weird when it happened, and as will happen, we'll be recording the show, and we get in the spooky mode. Yeah. So then you hear something like, "What the fuck was that?" But that was actually like genuinely unsettling because it was couldn't hear what she said, but it sounded like Brittany, which was weird.
Right. Was it anything like that?
And you already choked her out that night, right? She was already passed out from being choked out.
Yeah, she was already done. She was taking her nappy poo. Her scheduled nappy poo that I have to give her once a week.
Ken gave her some sweet chin music.
Yeah. I played the Heartbreak Kids theme music. Because I'm a sexy boy.
Right.
But so was it anything like that clip I recently sent you about the Queen's funeral?
No, but that one is genuinely horrifying because it's like they're either talking about, I don't even know what's going on there, and we should probably drop a clip in here of that.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
So drop that here.
That death is irreversible, and the fact that she's
as you can see. Well, as you can see here in London, it is a lovely day, and as the hearse heads out into West London, Emily Morgan.
All right, so a little context on that, right? So it's during her funeral, right? It's BBC, whatever they're filming, and it cuts out for a minute, and you get that weird woman's voice, and it's like, okay, A, is that some like ghost voice, or B, is that them like discussing some like clandestine shit behind it? Like, what are they talking about?
Yeah, some other hidden ritual bled through, and it was like, what?
Yeah, like what kind of hidden, these reptilian, pedophiles, whatever they're doing. I just want to also, before we go any further, I just want to say how we're every episode we're getting closer and closer to becoming like Alex Jones.
Hey man, the world's done it to us. Yeah, the world's done it to us, bro. We're not changing. It is.
No,
you know what I mean?
Sure. No, but that's not the same, but that one was good. That one's been going around recently, right? That was that's been making the rounds.
Yeah.
And that one got me because that ticked off the secret ritual going on.
Yeah.
Some kind of insane, we got to bring her,
trapped.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. It sounds like some like British version of like the Grovers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, it does. And it's spooky and it's scary and I love it.
Yeah. I love it, but at the same time, what if I don't even want to think about what they get up to?
You can't because it drives you nuts. It literally drives you nuts thinking about because we'll never know. There's no. I mean, Alex Jones did crack open one of the rituals.
Disclaimer here, folks: we are not turning it to Alex Jones. I'm just having a laugh.
Yeah, he's having a goof. He's having one of his goofabouts.
Yeah.
But it's on par with what we do here.
Sure.
All right, but you know what? We're not getting taken by surprise this time.
No.
I'm just gonna straight up bring you another haunted headline.
Haunted headlines.
All right, guys. So this week's haunted headline, I like this. Are we alone? Government confirms investigation into paranormal activity at Utah property.
Hmm.
Yep. This is by Brian Spencer over at Fox 13.
Yeah.
Brian writes,
Thanks,
Salt
Brian.
Lake City. Yeah, thanks, Brian. Salt Lake City. Are the extraterrestrial beings or paranormal activity in the state of Utah? Well, the U.S. Department of Defense might have an answer for you. Might. A recently declassified document from an all-domain anomaly resolution office, which is part of the DoD, mentioned an unidentified anomalous phenomenon and included a section of Utah. The reports say there was an investigation into alleged hotspot of paranormal activity at a property in Utah, which at the time was owned by the head of a private sector organization. According to the report, the investigation included the examination of reports of shadow figures, creatures, and human consciousness anomalies. It also said that the investigators plan to hire psychics to study interdimensional phenomena believed to frequently appear at the location.
So it's a full fucking circus over there.
Yeah, right. High
strangeness.
Yeah, to the
Yep.
The final report, which is about 70 pages, does go on to say that the investigators didn't find anything of note and that they had investigated hundreds of anomalies across the country. However, while they haven't found confirmed existence of things, it's acknowledged that there are some things that are still unexplained. So they're just like, we can't prove anything.
No.
They're like, what we can't, what are we proving? We can't. But there's unexplained shit going on.
Right.
Which I like better.
Well, I mean, yes, but also at the same time, when they're hitting us with this fucking smokescreen story, what are they covering up?
It's true.
You know?
It's true. Yeah, another alien landing.
We still don't have answers to Skinwalker Ranch. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they gaslight us with that bullshit TV show.
Mm-hmm. Bullshit is right.
It's from the people that bring you fucking the
Oak Island,
and it's just like the same, like,
guys, we found a link from a gold chain. I'm just like, what the fuck? 6 seasons in, this is what are you doing here?
They're
Who's
like,
watching
whoa,
this?
We found pieces of wood.
We found coconut fiber that couldn't possibly come from anywhere else. It's like, wouldn't that have degraded by now? No.
Yeah,
All right.
they're like, no. Producers in the middle of the night are just like planting random shit they find,
Yep.
in the snack hut.
That's exactly what it is. And then the two main guys are just none the wiser. They're like, it's like the Blair Witch Project filming. They're just like, telling them where to go, and they're just like, what is this?
Yeah, like, whoa.
Why does this pirate skeleton we found yesterday say Spirit Halloween on the bottom?
Yeah, they're like, get our pirate skeleton expert out here. We need to do a whole episode talking to this guy.
Yep, they just pull a guy in who just doesn't know what the fuck's going on. What am I? Okay.
It's one of the guys from Pawn Stars. He's just like,
yep.
Here, I'll give you a little history on it, and they're just like, we didn't have the budget because 17 seasons in, we found, pieces of a boat that's just the wood, Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, which is to say, it's all a smokescreen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, interesting headline there. I just, isn't it just kind of hard to believe whenever the government's involved in any of this shit?
Yes. Yeah. Because
So
then
it's like-
they do that whole like, what do you want from us? We're supposed to be doing infrastructure, and then we get involved in this, and you're allocating our time, and it's a waste of time. It's
Yeah.
They make us feel bad.
Yeah.
For wanting to know what's going on, that they have to do work on something like this. They're like, this is your fault because you're interested. You want to talk about it. We got to take time out of it, and we got to split.
Yep, and then we get all antsy in our
press.
pants.
Yeah, that's every press conference. We got to do this for you because you want it, not because we want to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I laugh and laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, good shit. But all right. On to tonight's topic.
Yes, sir.
Kelly Hopkinsville invasion or goblin massacre. Whatever you want to call it. A lot of names.
The Kelly Hopkinsville Encounter is the best one that I've come across that gives it a little more credibility. Not like,
Sure.
Some people called it like the debacle, and it's like, I didn't call it that.
Yeah. Or the Great Goblin War.
Yeah, the Great Kentucky Goblin Wars of 1955. It's like, I mean, that's cool, but at the same time,
it is super cool.
It's
raining in a bit though,
Yep, but what's kind of cool about this is that this story is kind of credited with the whole little green men thing. Like that terminology kind of came out of here.
Right, even though it had nothing to do with the description.
No. So The so-called mythology began in part on the night of August 21st, 1955, when a large extended farm family called the Suttons arrived breathlessly at the Hopkinsville police station in southwestern Kentucky.
Yep.
Great whiskey. Their story... sorry. Their story of a terrifying siege by the otherworldly beings would become one of the most detailed and baffling accounts of an alien close encounter on record. Notable specifically for the large number of witnesses, nearly a dozen, the duration of the encounter, several hours, and the close proximity between the witnesses and creatures, sometimes just a few feet away.
Yes.
The incident quickly became regional and even national news.
Right.
So this, and they're still calling this alleged encounter, occurred at the Suttons farm in the tiny rural hamlet of Kelly, Kentucky. Hamlet, Jesus.
Yeah.
And this is where the family lived in an unpainted 3-room house without running water, telephone, radio, TV, or even books.
Aristocrats.
Yes. Of all the details of the story, the UFO landing and the appearance of small alien creatures, one fact is indisputable. When the 8 adults and 3 children arrived at the nearby Hopkinsville police station at about 11 p.m., they were genuinely terror-struck. Quote, "These aren't the kind of people who normally run to the police for help." Police Chief Russell Greenwell later told investigators, "What they do is reach for their guns." Yet here they were, women and children hysterical, and one man with a pulse of 140 beats per minute measured by an investigator.
Right.
Now, these aliens in this story, you gotta love them. But there's a bunch of things I want to say about these things, which is great. So, according to the accounts given to the police, at about 7 p.m. on the hot Sunday evening, the Sutton family friend Billy Ray Taylor was fetching water from the backyard well when he saw a silvery object, real bright with an exhaust all the colors of the rainbow, as he later recounted. It came silently toward the house, passing over it, and stopped in the air, and then dropped straight to the ground. Taylor, 21, and his 18-year-old wife had come from Pennsylvania to visit... Not our side. I guarantee it.
Yep.
To visit Lucky Sutton, with whom he had worked on a traveling carnival. Barney's beautiful. The Suttons, 50-year-old widow and matriarch Glennie Lankford, her 2 older sons and their wives, a brother-in-law, and the widow's 3 younger children, 12, 10, and 7, didn't take Billy Ray seriously and laughed at him initially.
Yeah.
This is when the shit starts to hit the fan.
Right, because look, at this point, Billy Ray, who works with Lucky at the traveling circus, comes in and starts spinning a yarn to you.
Yeah.
About this, inclusive rocket that's shaped like a
over yonder above the horizon.
Yeah, shaped like a wash tub. That was one of the descriptions, you know.
Yeah.
And he comes in. If I'm a little kid and Billy Ray's dropping this on me, cracking that egg on me.
Yeah. Because old Uncle Billy Ray is always doing this shit. Like, I'm not listening to his stories.
Yeah, he works with the ape man over at the carnival.
Actually, that's the funny thing. That's one of the things that they had talked about, that he had heard stories of the hillbilly monster, which is their version of Bigfoot down in that area.
Well, there you go.
So,
yeah.
All right. So, an hour later, alerted by the dog's incessant barking, Lucky and Billy Ray went to the back door and made out a strange glow, in the midst of which they spied a small humanoid creature. About 3.5 feet tall, it had, quote, an oversized head almost perfectly round. Its arms extended almost to the ground. Its hands had talons, and its oversized eyes glowed with a yellowish light. The body gave off an eerie shimmer in the light of the night's new moon, they said, as if made of, quote, silver metal.
Yes.
Terrified, the 2 men grabbed a 20-gauge shotgun, as you do, and a .22 rifle, and fired at the, quote, little man and its hands, now raised up as if held at gunpoint as it came toward the back door. They reported that it then did a flip, scrambled upright, and fled into the darkness. Which is interesting, because they say this part that when they shot at it, it made this metallic sound.
Yeah, like a bing, bing, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love because even in other descriptions of it, like, they all are the same pretty much, but they were saying, like, how, like, its midsection was like a 20-gallon gas tank, and it had the little legs that were like good for nothing really, but wobbling and holding it upright until it did the backflip and used its arms, you know?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So like, imagine that, like its arms are up and it's like waddling towards you.
Yeah, no.
What are you gonna do? Shoot.
You fucking shoot.
You fucking shoot.
Yeah, you do. So shortly after, the men saw a similar creature appear in the side window and fired through the window screen. Still impervious to the bullets, the little man again flipped and then disappeared. I went out into the hallway and crouched down next to Billy when I saw one approaching the door, Mrs. Langford told Isabel Davis, author of the extensive report called Close Encounter at Kelly and Others of 1955. I'm not going to read that book.
Yeah. Oh, and here's the quote. Yeah, that I was just...
Quote,
yeah.
It looked like a 5-gallon gasoline can with a head on top and small legs. It was shimmering bright metal, like on my refrigerator. On my Frigidaire.
I'm a Frigidaire.
The drama escalated when Taylor stepped outside under the small overhanging roof. I like this part. And those behind him saw a claw-like hand reach down and touch his hair. Dude, that's if you hadn't been shooting at that point, that's when you start, like, everybody shoots.
It's time to, anyway, I start blasting. Yeah.
That, or it turns into the scene from Predator when they mow down the jungle for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I remember seeing the first time I heard about this, it was one of those classic shows.
Yeah.
From like, the late 90s where they were doing all the reenactments. And like, I remember them like just making the fake claw hand grab the guy's head, Yeah. And I was like, no!
No, stop! Or it reminds me of the claw hand that comes out from under like the kitchen door in Signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're not cutting fingers, you're blasting, dude.
No, only blasting. That's all that's happening here. The group screamed and pulled Taylor back while Lucky shot above the overhang and then another similar creature in a nearby tree. It floated to the ground and then scurried into the woods. The Suttons then moved inside and spent several hours listening for movements, hearing mostly occasional scratches on the roof. At 11 p.m., the whole group ran for the cars and hightailed it to the Hopkinsville police station at top speed. After the local police chief called for backup, his team was joined at the Sutton farm by state police, military police from nearby Fort Campbell, and a photographer from the Kentucky New Era newspaper.
Hell yeah. So
there, investigators found shell casings from the gunshots, but no other evidence. Neither could they find proof of heavy drinking.
Yeah.
They have to. They found a jug with 3 X's on it. That was about it.
Right, yeah. And sometimes in the back like, you gotta control your liquor.
Yeah. He was there too?
Yeah.
The old miner?
Yeah, the old miner's everywhere, dude.
I gotta bring him back. According to the Sutton matriarch, liquor was not allowed in the farmhouse.
Yeah, no.
Nope, only at the
She was a God-fearing woman.
Yep, only at the
Mrs. Sutton, old Miss Sutton was a saint.
She was a godly woman, God-fearing woman. So once the police and others left, though the creatures returned between 2:30 a.m. and daybreak, Mrs. Langford said that she saw one glowing repeatedly by her bedside window, its claw-like hand on the screen.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah,
blast off, dude.
Yeah. Horrifying.
Yeah, because her son, she was like,
yeah,
Lucky, please get in here. And they got in there.
Yeah.
And he puts the gun towards the window. She's like, don't shoot through the window. And he's just like, I got him, Miss Sutton. I just got to.
Yep. So in the following days, after radio stations and newspapers, including the New York Times, reported the incident, hundreds of curiosity seekers descended on the farm, often ridiculing the Suttons as ignorant or fraudulent. When no trespassing signs proved useless at discouraging them, the family tried charging admission. 50 cents for entering the grounds, $1 for information, $10 for taking pictures. I heard there were some other options, but they decided to leave it out.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about that, too. Like, people apparently just started walking in the house.
Yeah, they'd just be sitting there, right? And someone would just walk in the living room.
Yeah.
That's how people get shot. I'm surprised nobody did.
Well, they probably used all their bullets up in the goblin battle.
Yeah, because one of the stats for that battle was they fired over 100 shots.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
It's a lot. They were going in all their drawers,
Yeah, because these are rifles and shotguns. They have to reload, so it's like that's a lot for those. This isn't just out there with your AR-15.
Yeah, right. These guys know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like they're hot swapping. The one's laying down cover fire while the other reloads.
Yeah.
Old Miss Sutton's throwing frying pans,
Yeah.
It's wild. And
Pone comes in, he's telling everybody to fall back by squads. It's crazy.
Like at this point too, I can't blame him for charging. I can't blame him for charging at this point because you can't stop people from coming.
Yeah, you might as well. It's like,
one of the things I love too, right? When they first get to the police station and they're reporting it.
Yeah.
So it's all of them there, and right back besides everyone that comes to the farm with them, being like the police and everyone. Right. 2 other just random, locals were like, yeah, I want to. What? They're like, aliens, I'm coming. And they just went back with everyone just to watch.
Yeah, it was just that gif of the Ultimate Warrior running from backstage to the ring. They all were running towards these people's houses.
Yep.
So after that, skeptics blast them as fortune-seeking fabulists. What a word. So as the Kelly...
New York Times.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Hucksters, if you will.
Yeah.
So as the Kelly story spread into the world, it took on a life of its own. The number of, quote, little men grew to a dozen or more. After a few years later, the little metallic men were conflated with an Eastern Kentucky woman's report of a flying saucer and a 6-foot-tall man in green helping launch the myth of, quote, little green men.
Right.
So, hey, this is how this happens, man.
Yeah, it's what the press does, man. Press does it, and then the opinion of the public, they skew it, share it, spit it down the line, and it comes out just this mass of bullshit,
Absolutely. Yep. A little green man attack a Kentucky family.
Yeah. New York Times says this family's a few drops of water short of a full glass. That kind of stuff.
That kind of stuff that we're not good at.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the day after the incident...
Tell me, Flyboy, what did
So the day after the incident, police investigators returned to the farmhouse, searching for evidence of a saucer landing, footprints, blood trails, or scratch marks on the roof. They found nothing. Bud Ledwith, a local radio station employee, interviewed the adult eyewitnesses and made drawings based on their accounts. According to Davis, he was impressed by the remarkable specificity and consistency, even though the men were away from the farmhouse all day, unable to coordinate with the others. While the incident eventually attracted the attention of the U.S. Air Force UFO investigation program, Project Blue Book.
Talk about gaslighting.
Oh, yeah. Swamp gas from Venus. Or whatever. Documents suggest that its team never officially pursued the matter beyond checking in with their Fort Campbell counterparts who had been briefly at the scene for the first night. That's because they knew it was real.
Yeah.
We don't have to check that one. We know it's real.
Yeah.
One of the most thorough investigations of the Kelly incident was undertaken in 1956 by ufologist Isabel Davis and published several decades later by the Center for UFO Studies, a group founded by astronomer Dr. J. Allen Hynek, the legendary Dr. J.
Yes.
Project Blue Book's civilian investigator. Her nearly 200-page report, co-written with Ted Blecker, includes detailed maps, drawings, documentary records, summaries of similar accounts around the world, and interviews with several Sutton family members and police investigators.
I love how you were like they're like because it's real, because they were like, oh man, is it the big chested little leg back flipping goblins, the big the back flipping goblins? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, we know about those.
Yeah.
So
once you shoot their metal, the bing bang bing, yeah.
Yeah, they're from the carnival, but you shoot them, they just bing ping. Shoot a goblin, get a prize.
Yeah. They were mad. They were coming to get their revenge on Billy Ray and Lucky.
Yeah. It's
I have to stand there and get shot by these fucking kids all day.
Yeah, it's like...
Call my cousin Brexy.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Davis summarized the latter's concern about the lack of physical evidence, but to her reckoning, none of the possible explanations, a deliberate hoax, a publicity play, group hallucinations, made sense. Yeah. While questions arose about whether the young men were exaggerating, possibly fueled by hidden stores of liquor, Davis's strong impression after meeting Mrs. Langford was one of a somber, no-nonsense matriarch who abhorred the limelight and had no reason to lie. None of the witnesses, Davis noted, had any history of making, quote, preposterous allegations.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fast forward a little bit. In 2006, Joe Nickel senior research fellow of the International Committee for Skeptical Inquiry and a self-styled paranormal investigator, reviewed the accumulated evidence in an article entitled Siege of the Little Green Men, the 1955 Kelly, Kentucky incident. In it, he raised suspicion about what he called Billy Taylor's embroidered testimony. Oh, you jerk. He matched Taylor's,
David, what is this, Chuck Rack coming back to us?
A little bit. He matched Taylor's UFO sighting with similar reports from that day, which suggested a small meteor in the vicinity. And then this nonsense. As for the Little Green Men, Nichol floated an explanation used for other alien encounter stories. Owls. In particular,
you fuck.
The great horned owl. How many times is this guy going to show up? He's pissed. He's like, I am not an alien. I am not the Mothman.
Yeah.
Stop.
I'm not made out of metal.
No.
I can't do backflips.
No.
Can't hover. Can't levitate.
Yep. So this great horned owl has long wings that could be mistaken for arms, along with talons, yellow eyes, long ears, and round head that might also match the little men description. As for the metallic shine, Nichol suggests they could have easily been reflecting moonlight.
How?
Yeah, exactly. But while hoot owls are known to be active at dusk and extremely aggressive when defending their nest, some investigators question characterizations of the creatures as hostile. To some, their behavior that night in Kelly appeared to be simply curious.
Yeah, so... yeah, let's address the owl in the room here.
Yes.
So these guys, the 11 people, one of which did not witness it because they were just inside. Like, I'm not fucking around with goblins.
Yeah.
Little goblin aliens.
Yes.
So we're to assume that these people that live without a bathroom, electricity, running water, all that stuff, spend all their time out in the woods.
They're country people.
Country people don't know what an owl looks like.
It's ridiculous. I don't care how drunk they may have been, and apparently they weren't drunk.
Right.
Why would any of this be turned into, oh, that's an owl?
Right, and we have 3 actual difference, okay, so they could say this is where they spun the fanciful aspects of it up.
Right.
One, they seemed to glow when they were in the light, like they started radiating this yellow glow, or when someone would, I guess, look at them for too long.
Yeah.
They would start glowing. Another, when you shot them, they didn't die. They backflipped and came back.
And made a metal noise.
Yeah, it made a metal noise. And 3, they looked like they were covered in metal.
Right.
How is that, like, owls aren't going to reflect light. And it's not like, it's that yellow soft light that they would have had. Any kind of, like, porch light around there would be that old soft, like, yellow kind of, reminds me of my childhood in the stove light, eating macaroni and cheese at 3 a.m.
Yeah, with your reflection, just like, ugh.
Yeah. Oh God.
Man, that's a really good point. And when I was reading over this whole thing, it's just like how quickly they're ready to just dismiss this as just drunken, like, hillbillies, that don't know what owls are. Right.
Yeah. It's like maybe you fancy pants Yankee. Maybe you don't know what an owl looks like.
Yeah.
And you're taking, just because they have an accent, they're not, they're not cultured.
Right. Well, I mean, the thing that gets me about this, the whole thing.
Pasty white muffins.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's the whole story. But the thing that gets me about this whole thing is that, like, you have all these people with their stories that don't change, and it didn't seem like they were able to corroborate. Maybe not at all. I don't know. But it seems like they're just ready to just get rid of it. They just want to say, nope, this is nonsense. These are just a bunch of hillbillies. They don't know what they're talking about. And they're kind of throwing out a lot of details that don't match up to anything to do with an owl, other than the yellow eyes, which owls don't have glowing yellow eyes unless you shine a flashlight on them. But, like, they're talking about these things radiating. Like, they see the meteor. Okay, let's say there was a meteor. All right.
Right.
But how do you know that meteor wasn't some sort of craft?
Yeah.
We don't know. All right.
We don't know.
Let's say something crashes and these guys come out. What's to say, you look at that picture, the artist reconstruction, they see eyes and ears. Maybe those are maybe those are antenna.
Sure.
And maybe these are from some kind of, like, protective suit.
Yeah. And, like, the eyes are like goggles so they can see in the dark.
Yeah.
With some lighting technology that we have yet to master.
Yeah, and maybe they were descending on the home, and they were just like, "Can we please use your phone? We crashed a mile from here." And they're like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
Our dad's gonna be super pissed. We have to get the ship back before midnight.
And how about the guy going outside and one of them like gripping, like trying to grab his head? That's an owl.
I love that so much. Yeah, that one's so cool. And like, could you imagine the fear? Like,
no, that's my greatest fear is looking out the window and the fucking face is there. I don't care what face it is. You could put any face there, and at 3 o'clock in the morning in the pitch dark, it's scary.
It's the most
any
terrifying.
Face.
Any fucking face.
What if it was your own face looking back at you?
Yeah, even worse.
Even worse.
You could put Jay Leno out there. If Jay Leno's out my window,
I'm not into that. Yeah,
dude, I'm blasting. Sorry, Jay.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna Superman punch through that window.
I'm grabbing like my replica friggin' Aragorn sword and I'm charging. You know what I mean?
Seriously, no. But and then they talk about the mother who's they no nonsense God fearing lady, and she talks about one of them sitting outside of her window like glowing. It's like okay, what? How is that an owl?
It's not. And when have owls been known to peer in windows like the alien from the Twilight Zone or the monster?
Yeah. So So I don't know, man. I really like this story because this is one of those ones that's it's like one of these like backwoods incursions by an alien. And it's like it's got all this great stuff to it. It has this really strange description of the aliens, and I think that's why it doesn't get brought up very often because it's like it doesn't fit into the gray alien type of thing. But I actually think that it does because I think if you look at the picture, say you're looking, I don't know if you have the picture in front of you, but imagine there is a gray in there and those little wings or those little ear things, those are just antennas of some kind.
Right. It's just like a helmet. It's a protective suit.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe it's got under it, it's got like a kind of a jetpacky thing. That's why it looks so bulky here.
Yeah.
And that's why they're able to do the backflips and hover,
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, man, they're testing their anti-grav technology on Earth.
Yeah. And right as before you go to the next point, but as to like the media does, state-run media, what do they do? They conflate it with other stories and they throw the little green men thing in there.
Yes.
Where they're like, oh, you guys are all seeing, more little green men, huh? All these wahoos are seeing little green men. And they just stick that onto it.
Yes.
So you have that stigma with it.
Yes.
Latest.
And then also, I mean, and you can't not draw the comparison. These are like miniature Flatwoods Monster.
Yeah.
Like they have a very like kind of similar like mode about them, right? The metal, the glowing eyes, the floating. I mean, they're a lot smaller, but
they were compared to owls.
Which another one. It's like, no, it was, which, we went over that. You can go check out that episode we did, way back. It's got to be a couple of years at this point. Mm-hmm. And, we kind of came to the conclusion that, like, it seemed like it was a crashed ship. It was like a metallic, almost like robotic kind of thing where there was something in there or something. And, these eyes were really just some kind of like, beacon light or something. And it was, crashed and it hissed, then it was just like steam escaping when they opened the hatch or something. Mm-hmm. So no, it's another owl. It's just like owl. I was like, if we had an owl problem like this, I think we would have more reports. It's like these things would be like, watch out for the fucking owls if you go in the woods because they're just doing crazy shit.
Yeah, there'd be way more heart attacks out in the woods. You know Seriously. What I mean? Like someone stumbling upon a giant owl.
Yeah, our owls wear fucking body armor. What?
Yeah, whoa.
When did they learn that?
Yeah, well, at the same time they learn how to backflip and hover.
I guess. Yeah, because owls are not hovering.
Yeah.
No, but it's super interesting. And then I like the other aspect of this, that there's also this, this Kentucky local legend of these like cave goblins that have been around for a long time. Yeah. Right? So in looking into some of this stuff, one of the problems that I kind of encountered, and I think Ken, you did too, is that documentary that came out a few years ago, Hellier, the one we're talking about, kind of muddied the waters here a little bit for everybody. they kind of allude to these there's the Mammoth Cave, and there's a bunch of these other Kentucky sites where they talk about, you know, these goblins, that there's, you know, these legends of these goblins that inhabited these caves. And unfortunately, at this point, when you go to look these things up, it all comes back to Hellier. So whether these stories existed beforehand, I can't say, because everything turns back to Hellier at this point. But they've certainly muddied the waters, and it's kind of hard to separate, you know, actual legend from things they made up for that documentary.
Yes, right, like
made up.
Yeah, they go into so the Mammoth Cave, which also corresponds with the ley lines,
right? That
also correspond with other cave systems. Whereas these all on the ley lines and the cave systems all line up to where inside somewhere there's a big secret chamber where these goblin creatures and potentially government are working in cahoots.
Whatever they were getting at.
Yeah, whatever the end game of Hellier was, besides synchronicity and blue balloons. And you've played, you know, specific frequencies in a cave and stuff starts to happen.
Yes.
But so it really kind of actually looks like it in our investigations that we do on the side here.
Yeah.
That this is just all that stuff besides this, you know, story was all made up in that fake guy, that fake doctor.
Yes.
Based on the Kelly Hopkinsville Goblin account.
Right.
So it seems like they took that, they fabricated this guy sending emails. They, you know,
for sure.
Made their own paper trail with this guy, and then attached it like he had inside information of these cave systems and stuff that's going on and people disappearing. When in reality, they pretty much just wrote it all, came up with their idea of how, you know, this works. It's actually compelling and it's cool. It's good that they did. Well, not good. It's cool that they did that, but at the end of it, not coming out and being like, surprise, it's like Blair Witch. Like, you know, we just made a really interesting, you know, mockumentary.
Yeah, but they couldn't. I think it was too juicy for them because, you know, to like let it go. Because we were initially, when we were talking about doing this episode, like, we're like, oh, well, here we go. They're tying it right to Hellier. And we're not doing a whole episode on that because it's not real. And the fact that they presented it as such is really, like, really annoying because...
It's pretty shitty.
Yeah, because you have this whole thing going on. They're doing their whole thing, and it's like, just say it's fake. It's okay, guys.
Yeah.
But to leave people on and do that whole thing and then
just double down on a second season.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, man. It just I know this isn't like exactly linked, but you could tell this specific encounter was the springboard for it all.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, and this one, I you know, as strange as it is and as weird as the aliens are described, I really like this one. And I also like the fact that it happens in the same area. I mean, it's not exactly Kentucky, but Kentucky is close to West Virginia. It kind of has like this area. It's like, well, something's happening out here.
Right.
But there's no links to caves at all. So
no. You know, I really like this too, and I like how it's just an you know, isolated incident.
Yeah.
Things don't return like that. It was just like this one night.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of gives me more credibility. The fact that they went directly to the police station when they felt they could leave, like they blasted a clear zone to get out of there. You know.
Right.
And they wouldn't return to the house unless, you know, they brought the police and all that other stuff. And then I like all that. I like the design of the goblin or alien or whatever you want to call it. Because it's different. It is different, and we, like you said, you could fit in that narrative if you go and like maybe they're wearing suits and all that stuff.
Right.
You know, for me, I definitely, God, I wish like they had some kind of camera, could snap like a silhouette of what they saw. That would have been. They
didn't even have you know, toilets in the house.
Right.
I mean,
right.
These were some, you know, you know, country-esque people, but the story is solid. To me, it's a solid story. I mean, I don't know what happened there. I love some of the artist renderings of this, of the like hanging. There's this one of like the house, and they have like these big glowing goblins on the roof. It's a lot of fun, but I like to, you know, you look at it with a different angle and not look at them as ears and like, you know, organic, and think of them more as like, you know, some kind of like suit that they're wearing. It kind of starts to make a little bit of sense. In my mind, I mean, obviously, if you think UFOs are real or any of this is real, it's bullshit to begin with. But definitely not owls. And for somebody to be like, I would land more on they were trying to perpetrate a hoax than it was owls. It's like, come on.
Yeah, and even the they certainly could have perpetrated a hoax. They certainly could have, all got together, got their story straight, even though, they said that 3 of them left early in the morning to go hunting, and there's no way that they could have cooperated in the time. They could have cooperated in the time.
Sure.
I think the more credible thing is the fact that they left their house, who the people were. They wouldn't go home, like I said, until, the police intervention. And, they really, after that, they didn't pursue anything. Investigators came to them. They didn't reach out to anyone else. They didn't.
Right.
The only thing they did was charge when people were disrupting their everyday lives, which I can totally understand, because you can't go out and do your work or whatever you do to make money, because there's people stopping your, whatever you grow. They're messing up your house. You got to spend time cleaning, attending to your property, because all these people are here. They said it was like a circus atmosphere after a while, and there was just cars and cars, and it's like, imagine what the damage they did to their property and their land.
And they keep scaring the chickens and whatnot.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
But the chickens, they do backflip as well, so they have to they had to help them shoot these creatures.
Yeah,
chickens do the back, like bing,
Yep.
And then Link comes out and holds it up.
Right. Blew it wide open, Ken.
That's what I'm here to do, buddy.
Yeah. No, this is. I think this is definitely ODP canon.
Oh, totally ODP.
I like it. It's fucking weird, but it's weird in a way that it's like, yes, I really like this, and it's a slice of just weird Americana. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's one of those ones where it's like, oh, you don't know about the Kentucky Goblin Siege? It's like, yeah, I know, and it's real. It's real to me, damn it.
It's real to all us weirdos out here.
Yeah. Goblins attacked a family in Kentucky. That's the coolest shit ever.
Oh,
but they're really aliens, Yep.
There's a similar account, which I'll just mention briefly, because it's kind of a smaller incident of the Dover demon that took place in 1977 in Dover, Massachusetts. A very, very similar encounter. Also purported to be owls. I had to bring it up because when I was looking into it, that the encounter had, even they said when it happened, like, this sounds just like the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter of 1955. Yeah. So because everyone thought that, they're like, oh, well, then I guess it's just owls in Massachusetts too. It's like, sure. Same kind of thing, though.
You're absolutely right, though. If we had an owl problem like this, way more stories.
Yeah. People would, you wouldn't hear about, cougars ripping up hikers. You'd hear of owls just murdering people and then backflipping.
Backflipping and haunting people. And the thing, it's definitely aliens, not goblins. I think they'd only call them goblins because of the appearance, but also everyone knows that goblins are not good at metallurgy. They don't have that skill set,
Well, they don't like iron.
Yeah. So
and these particular goblins didn't like light, which was interesting. So,
and they started glowing. So it's like, what is that about?
Yeah,
that's weird. I don't know about that.
I don't know, man. They've got some kind of intergalactic rays shooting out of their asses or whatever.
We're not hosting an intergalactic kegger.
Yeah, we are, though. That's the problem.
Zed. But one last thing too about one of the reported reasons that or explanations is they found some tinfoil in the
Jesus
woods.
Christ. Yeah.
And they were like, it could have been the tinfoil, man. Could you imagine when they brought that to the family and they're like,
are you sure it wasn't this tinfoil? They probably looked at it and it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
No.
And then he just shoots the tinfoil and he's like, wasn't tinfoil.
Yeah.
Tinfoil gone now.
Yep. In fact, why don't you get gone now too?
Yeah.
He's like, we got to start charging. Enough of these assholes showing up on the property. We got to start charging. They're like, you know what? Billy Ray or whatever his name was.
Better backflip your fat ass off my property.
Yeah, that too. Blue Book Jagoff.
Yeah, backflip your ass down the road.
Yep.
Mr. Blue Book.
Yep. No, this is the good stuff, man. Some kind of weird thing happened. Aliens, creatures, whatever you want to call it. Something happened. I don't know what happened, but it certainly wasn't these weak ass explanations of owls, tinfoil, and they're just drunk.
Yeah, so I guess closing statement time. I guess mine is that I watched 2 seasons of Hellier for nothing.
I think we all did, buddy.
Very true.
If you haven't watched that, do yourself a favor and don't, unless you just want to be like, after it's all over, you're just like, why did I watch this? Because they make you think they're building towards something, and it's building towards a Mylar star balloon on the side of the road and some branches that fell over.
Yeah. And it sucks because I actually liked season 1. And
so did I. I liked where it was going. I was like, this isn't real, but this is fun.
And then when you got to season 2, I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Yeah, the Warrens show up. Oh, wait, no.
Might as well have.
Right.
That is the first time I did see that form of what is it? The EVP? Not the EVP. The where you they ask questions and you have the ghost box and you're like isolated so you can't hear the questions.
Oh yeah, whatever that bullshit's
It's like
called.
the Smith method or whatever.
Sure.
I think that's cool. That's fun. I enjoy that because like sometimes you get some really cool answers if they're really doing what they say they're doing.
Not into it at all.
Closing statements from you, buddy?
Closing statements for me is that I remember the story from when I was a kid. I had it was some magazine or something. I remember reading about this, and I thought this was fucking terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
That like, and hey, this may have formed my fear of looking out the window and then being out there, because I grew up in the woods and I grew up around country people, and like nobody misidentifies animals, especially especially country people. What the hell you're seeing. Yep. And these people, if they were set on that this was what they said it was, and the metallic sound when they got shot, that's it. Just I believe them, and I don't know what it was, what they saw. I mean, they're certainly strange, the weird way that they moved, but they seemed to have seen something. They were terrified enough to go tell the police, and I love it.
Yeah, my favorite part is like that maybe they weren't even really aggressive. They were just like looking for help or whatever, and they just started getting shot at.
That's what I'm saying. They're like, our ship broke down. Can we use your phone? They're like, we ain't got no phone in here.
Yeah. Can we use the bathroom? Shitter's out back.
Yeah. No, I was trying to look at these pictures without they're showing you that it's a head and ears and arms. And I was trying to look at it like in an abstract way, like what else could that be? You know what I mean? Like just looking at the shape. And it's got to be some kind of like
helmet,
some kind of, or maybe they're not even organic creatures. Maybe there's some kind of like drones or something that they send out. You know what I mean? Like who knows? Right.
Yeah, they have a specific look to them because they have to fit in a specific ship and a specific.
Yeah. They're like the battle droids from episode 1.
Right, like when they get on the ship, that whole thing goes, and their legs go inside.
Yes,
and their arms, and it just like locks into a position.
Yeah, just like the fucking battle droids. Like they come down and like that. Who knows? And I like that explanation better than anything.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that's all we got for the Kelly Hopkinsville Goblin Siege of 1955. Hey guys, happy to be back. Happy to be doing our thing again with you guys. Sorry that we were away. But yeah, we'll be consistent going forward more, and thanks for sticking with us. I guess for this episode of Other Dangerous Podcast, I've been Ken James.
And I've been Jason McKittrick.
And as always, have a spooky evening. Thank you for listening to Other Dangerous Podcasts. Have you encountered the other dangers? If so, you can email us at otherdangerouspodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to have a discussion about the paranormal, you can find us at Other Dangerous Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. There you can find submitted pictures, videos, and artwork from listeners. We are now streaming on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else podcasts are streamed. And after listening, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue to bring you the other dangers.